Hello and welcome to episode 298 of the Should I Play This Game podcast for the 22nd of April 2024. As always, joined by one and only Steve Francis, who I think is on holiday still or is just about to finish.
Nope. I've been back at work for a week, although that week was 3 days long because I was in hospital again.
Hey, yay for you. What for this time?
It was just a follow-up. It was a laparoscopy following up on some bits and pieces found from the removal of the appendix. So they went in, had a look, scraped away what was left of the appendix there.
So they didn't get it all.
For lack of a better term, biopsying that. You what?
They didn't get it all the first time?
So when they do it, they basically wrap a surgical rubber band around it, cut, so there's a little stump left.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So yeah, they scraped away the last of it, and the doctor specialist dude came in and was like, "Hey, yo, guess what? We found nothing." I'm like, "Yay!" But then because my brother was going to drive me, because you're not meant to drive yourself after general anesthetic.
For obvious reasons.
He happened to pluck his back.
Oh, okay.
About 3 days before I was meant to go in. So I had to drive myself, and then I had to hang around. I was meant to be discharged at 10. By the time the doctors came around, it was 11. I had to hang out until about 3 before I could drive home.
Okay, yep.
So I just played games on my laptop.
Fair enough.
And by the time I got home after like pit stops, shops, to the shops and things like that, I got home at 6 o'clock. Because the hospital itself, like peak hour traffic is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
This is on Friday.
And then
Friday, this whole thing was. It was on Friday. You were in actual.
Friday was the escape.
Okay.
Thursday was me going in.
Yep.
So yeah, that was fun.
So that should be the end of that saga with the appendix.
I'm gonna go in for another laparoscopy in about 12 months, but that should be the end of it.
Okay. It's just one final. Yeah. Okay. I didn't realise the appendix had that many post-op things. I thought once they got in and removed it, it was.
It tends not to.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just special.
So
the only other potential thing is if they find something in the scraping away of the appendix, which I'm going to get a phone call in about 2 weeks for that.
Oh, okay.
But I'd imagine if they were suspicious, they probably would have said something.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I was here thinking I'd have my new fucking monitor set and everything, but Jesus Christ, that's its own little odyssey. God fucking damn it. Bloody, I got an email from Amazon on the day my new monitor was meant to rock up. We don't have the stock to provide your order. I'm like, motherfucker, I pre-ordered that shit 6 weeks ago. You're only telling me on the day I meant to get it. I could have got it by now if I'd have got it from somewhere else. Now I've got to wait till mid-May. Assholes. Yeah. I have a new internet camera, though.
Oh, you bought what did you get?
I got the Elgato Facecam Mark II.
I've got that on order. It should arrive in a couple of weeks.
So one of the biggest things with so I had the Logitech StreamCam, and that has an autofocus, and that turns out to not play very well with NVIDIA Broadcast, which is the program that NVIDIA puts out for webcams, where it removes background, shit like that. But this works well for that because it's a fixed focus. It doesn't have the big bright light around it, so it's a little darker than perhaps
usual. The picture's fantastic on my end. Yeah. Really crisp and clear.
I've given it a test. It works on broadcast. I was still going to do the Friday show if I was leaving hospital at the right time.
Yes, and you would have got home with, time to spare to set up and shit like that. Yeah.
I still maintain I probably could have driven, but they were like, insurance isn't going to cover you, and if you fucking have an accident, I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, all right, good call.
Yep.
I've got something real stupid planned for the next Friday Night Fun, though. Something I've taken as a challenge that wasn't really a challenge, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I'm an idiot. But anyway. what was meant to be well, no, this is the hospital trip this time wasn't a surprise one. That one I knew about.
Yeah, the last one was. The one.
The last one was very big surprise.
The last one that started this whole thing was the surprise. So.
Yes. I was shitting myself a little bit because I got an email from the hospital, because it was a private hospital. I got an email from them going, "Oh, we're going to email you through an estimate of costs." I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, I got private health insurance. I'm like, fuck, this better cover it.
Yeah.
I get the estimate of costs. $0 I need to pay.
Excellent.
Yes.
Yay for a good health system.
Well, if it was public, I wouldn't have to worry about it.
No, but either way, it's a good health system. Either way, you have no...
I pay $150 at least a month on health insurance. You better fucking hope it covers it.
Yeah.
I don't use that shit for damn near anything else.
Mm. Well,
whereas you've basically just been chilling.
You're back this week?
I've been back
for 2 days this week. Then you're off for
3
days. 3 days. Oh, 3 days. Okay, so Thursday, Friday.
And then this coming week's all messed up as well because there's Anzac Day.
Yeah.
I have school finishing early on Wednesday because of parent interviews, and then there's the Western Australian teacher strike happening on Tuesday. I'm not in union, so I'm not going to be there.
Okay.
I'll be at work, but man, this week's going to be fucked as well.
Yeah, okay.
Fun times.
So obviously you've had, last time I recorded was a couple of weeks ago. You've had 1 week of holidays, last week of your holidays, then back to work.
Yep. That explains the volume.
There's a volume, which we're going to get to right now because you've got a lot to go through. So let's do that.
All right. So, pesticide not required. I have received or achieved all the achievements in about 26 hours. I still think it's one of the best Ask games since Vampire Survivors. Because there's that added layer of depth with the farming, the fishing, everything else that Ask games don't have. And that makes it so much more valuable to the experience because it's so much more engaging to play beyond just, hey, move your dude around, kill everything, and pick up shiny things. Which, that part can be great when it's done well, like in Vampire Survivors. But, yeah, in here, that additional depth is really beneficial. I really dig it. But I definitely think people should play that. If you have any sort of remote interest in Vampire Survivor-like games, pesticide not required. It's a good one of those. Maniac. I have, quote-unquote, finished Maniac.
The idea is to get 20 minutes and set off a nuke or something? Is that the goal of the run? Yeah, so once you've done that...
That's the main goal, is to survive the 20 minutes, have the nuke go off. There's weird bugginess around like buying or getting some of the upgrades and things like that I think was being worked on in a patch, but that patched after I actually did it all.
Okay.
So I have actually survived now with all of the characters in the game. And I have been able to buy all the possible, all the additional add-ons, perks, weapons for those characters.
Yep.
The thinness of the concept does sort of wear a little bit thin. By the time
I think I've fallen off it because I mean it's I think for that reason I think it's obviously got that initial thing is really impressive that you do. But I couldn't see me running that through dozens and dozens of times through multiple characters to quote unquote finish that game. But
no.
But does each character has got, there's a couple of attributes, is it speed and something else that each character's got as an attribute? I can't remember what they are now.
They do have their own quote unquote unique attributes from a health and survivability and speed perspective. They also,
some of the characters are easier to play with or as than others, or not so much?
I didn't tend to notice too much.
Yeah, okay.
But the biggest one is the weapons they have access to.
Yep.
Like the drunk Santa, I never used his explosive surprise because I didn't even need it to. But once you start, like when the coked up businessman, you can unlock the grenade launcher. It's like, oh shit, explosive weapons are really good in this. But by the time you get to the point of getting somewhat close to the nuke limit, you're being able to like steal tanks steel troop carriers and things like that that have their own explosive turrets on them. It's the best. Like, it's the sort of game where you wouldn't want to sit there play it without anything else going on. It's a distraction game. It's something you play while you're watching something on a second screen, or you have something going on the TV or something like that. It's not the sort of thing you're just solely playing to focus on. I think that would wear very thin even quicker.
So
the sheer carnage.
Oh, the sheer carnage, and the visuals and sheer carnage of it is absolutely is brilliant. That's definitely the hook. But from memory, you've got police is the first level of wantedness. Then you've got FBI military. Is any above military or above whatever?
There's military, then there's army, and then some weird sort of space force UFO. I don't know.
Oh, okay. So there's 5.
You get like
4 or 5 levels of groups of people coming after you. Okay.
There might be more because, like, we can if you replay with the existing characters you've already survived at, it just adds 10 minutes onto the survival requirement.
Oh, is it? Oh, so it goes from 20 to 30 minutes to. Oh, okay.
But no, like, I've done the 20 with all of them. I did, I think, 30 with the clown, maybe the coked up businessman. The clown and the coked up businessman have the best, like, loadouts because they're explicitly explosive, like rocket launchers or grenade launchers. The hot dog has like explosive hot dog bombs you can throw, which is pretty handy.
Yep.
The little kid you unlock has a laser guided rocket launcher, which is a little bit more complicated to use because you're obviously using the aiming stick to aim the laser to aim the rocket.
Yeah, so it's a bit more precise when that game's not exactly. You haven't got a lot of time to be precise in that game. Yeah.
And you don't, like, you sort of don't want to be. You just want to be cruising along, just blowing shit up constantly, getting money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And eventually just stealing a tank.
Yeah.
But I still think the Drunk Santa's the best character from a vocal line sort of characterization perspective, where it's like, hey, you guys want some presents? So that part's pretty amusing. But other than that, it's good for what it is, for the price.
Oh yeah, for what is it,
it's hard to argue.
$7 or $8, whatever it was, Australian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell so.
Still surprised tonight hasn't gotten onto this sort of thing yet.
I think they've got other things to worry about.
Hey, we played more from Lightyear Frontier for the second episode of Picking Rugs, Digging Owls.
Yep.
Moving on.
I'm really enjoying that game.
That game's. I really dig it.
It's really it's obviously it's got a lot of similarities to a degree with Satisfactory and that stuff like that, but it's so different as well in what you're doing from moment to moment. And it does appear to be, although you haven't really dug into that much per se. There is some sort of story there that we're trying to unravel as we're going along, which is vaguely intriguing. Yeah, so it's been good.
Yeah, we have like the ability to fulfill special request orders, which we've done 2 of the 3 we were given. The third one we can't do. I don't know, for a while.
I think for a while. I think from that. Yeah.
I'm curious how you negotiate the water to get to that island.
Yeah, I don't know. I was out there in the last episode we played. I was out there in this thing. How do we? Is this really as close as it looks? Is it really far away? But yeah, I suspect. Yeah, I don't know.
I imagine we'll find out in a couple episodes at least.
Assuming it's in early access, that covered. I assume it is. I think it is, but yeah.
Find out soon enough.
I think the only thing it's a bit. I think now that we've sort of played it a bit, I think we need to pick this up on this more. Is if you want to find the next recipe to make something, you've got to make something else that triggers that. That's why we haven't quite sort of got that nailed down yet. So if we were in the last episode, we're going, how the hell do we make this furnace?
Discoverability is something that could be much more.
Could be a lot more.
I mean, a lot of instances like Minecraft, you sort of discover something or you build something, and it automatically puts it in your sort of recipe booklet.
Yeah.
But it doesn't do that until you actually do it for the first time, which Lightyear is sort of replicating to an extent.
Yeah.
But is it doing it in the most useful way? Probably not.
Yeah. The thing is not. It's just not. what's the word I'm looking for?
It's not as streamlined as it could be.
Yeah, it's not as streamlined as also it's not as upfront about that stuff.
Mm.
So like the only reason we found out how to do it is I read up online. I mean to make what was it, sand or stone or whatever he had to do. Stone dust.
Yeah, chuck a rock into the fucking crusher to make stone dust. It's like, what the fuck?
And then that triggered the recipe unlocked for the furnace. I go, well, when there's nothing to make us, nothing that's making us make that particular item, we would just stumble across it and go, oh, okay, that's what it was. But yeah, I think
maybe we chuck some wood into the grinder, make sawdust.
Let's see what it does. Yeah,
I would wish the map would also indicate resources as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably something I think they should add into that, some sort of. There was actually, I was reading earlier, they've done a bit of a patch for it, so it's not a big lot of changes. But one thing they said they've made the, I think it's something to do with coal. They've made that easier to spot or something. So they seem to be taking some sort of changes like that. But yeah, I think they could service a lot of that stuff a bit easier in terms of knowing what you've got to do next to get the next thing. And I think they could make finding, or going back to I knew it isn't there. Red crystals around here somewhere. I can't remember where it is.
Yeah,
I'll just go wandering and find it. I think they could make that a bit easier to. I think even if it just had more map markers, would probably solve that problem.
It's discoverability, it's things to make discoverability a lot easier. And I mean, we started playing it properly, or quote unquote properly, about a week or two after it launched in early access.
Yeah.
So these could be very well things that are on their launch roadmap or whatever that they're doing. Yep. So who's to say where it goes?
But it's a really enjoyable game. It's
where it's at in particular. I think it's very strong.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I tend not to play early access games in early access.
Yeah, well, I'll get to one of the games I've played that's in that same boat, but I think this just seems to have enough content that it's worth playing at least for a little bit. It might run out very soon. We might only get half a dozen episodes out of our series before we run out of content to do. But I don't think that's going to be the case. But yeah,
we'll see. Penny's Big Breakaway. So this was made by the developers of Sonic. Fucking what's it called? God damn it! What was that Sonic thing called? Sonic. I just look up Sonic. That's helpful. Let's look up Sonic PS4 and see what happens. Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania was what I looked up. Not what I looked up. Sonic Mania was the game. Wait, that's yours. I went and ruined it all.
Yep, you did. You didn't want people seeing what you were searching, so.
My apologies. The developers of Penny's Big Breakaway made Sonic Mania for Sega. It was like, yo, this is really good. And they decided to make a 3D platformer that is less good. The basic concept is you're Penny. You have a yo-yo that, for some reason, the yo-yo can turn into a mouth with teeth. That's fucking freaky.
Mm-hmm.
And you traverse the level either running around or you can stand on top of the yo-yo and sort of run on it like it's a barrel.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest problem with it, and it's one of the things that's actually shown off in the key art in a few different spots, is that these penguins are fucking everywhere. Well, not that they're everywhere, but where they show up, they just swarm you. And if 5 latch onto you, they just pick you up, carry you away, and it's like, oh, no, now I'm dead.
Oh, okay, so they're the enemy, so to speak, are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like there's a fixed camera, so you can't move it, which isn't... It's not the biggest problem, but it's also just one thing in a list of things where it's like, it's kind of a bummer. Some of the challenges or some of the... very much like a 3D platformer. It's go from start to finish, but also here's some things to collect for extra shit.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those things to collect, the penguins get in the way, or it wants you to do very specific tricks or very specific like elements or movements with the yo-yo in order to reach that item.
Okay.
But there's a precision that's asking for that it can't quite pull off, and it's in some places a bit too narrow. Where you're running on this yo-yo and it does big sick drifts when you're trying to like run and change direction and stuff like that. But when you're trying to do that in a really narrow space, you just fall down. It's like, oh, I was like, fuck you, man. Yeah, it doesn't quite work as well as you'd like. It's not terrible. It's not a terrible game at all. It's okay, but I don't want to spend time I've got just playing okay.
Sure.
It's not worth my time to try and bash my head against it to try and finish it and stuff like that. It's fairly short from all reports, like 3 to 4, between 3 and 5 hours. But yeah, nah, I don't think it's the sort of thing where I'm going to go, well, I've uninstalled it, so I'm not going back to it unless I decide to reinstall it. So, Speaking of games that are worth getting to, though, Promenade. A 2D, somewhat puzzle platformer that's sort of that collectible, that old school sort of collectible, collectathon platformer as well. The little octopus, little thing you have there, it's like Little Squishy from Jusant.
Oh, okay. Yep.
To the point where I dub him Little Squishy the Second. The platforming actually feels really, really good. It's really quite tight. Most of the puzzles that you're asked to solve in order to get these cog pieces are mostly quite doable, but also fairly clever and fairly like quite original. It's got really nice art style. I love the look of it. I think the music's really good, although it's a little bit repetitive. The music itself is really quite decent. 95% of the puzzles I found to be very doable. Only about 1 or 2 of the main challenges I needed to look up because I just couldn't understand what was going on with it. And there was 6 hidden objects throughout the game world that are even more complicated to try and get through or get to. So there's post-game stuff as well. And god damn it, it's fucked. And like it's that sort of very technical movement based challenge for the most part, where it's jump, double jump, like float with parachute sort of thing, throw the parachute, hook to yourself to this hook, whip off, and it's very, very like very difficult when you fuck it up, but when you get it right, it's like, yeah, fuck you, game. I have literally 2 things left to, not to get all the achievements, because some of it is do this to get this. I'm like, yeah, okay. There's one challenge that's a tower-based sort of climb with movement, for lack of a better term, puzzles. And there's another challenge beyond a locked door. To do the tower, I've actually done it the first time, but there's a timed version of it. You get 10 minutes to do it. It took me 45 minutes, an hour to do it the first time.
Yeah, okay.
Because like it very much like those internet games where you see people streaming, you can go climb, and fuck up and fall.
Oh, okay, yep.
And if you're not careful, you will fall all the way to the floor.
Okay.
But like most of the time, if you throw the little squishy out, because the squishy acts like a grappling hook on some things and stuff like that.
Yep.
You'll generally save yourself, but just trying to, some of the time challenges were fucking rough in and of itself. Trying to climb this big fuck off tower in 10, 11 minutes without fucking up.
Yep.
And getting your way up top and actually doing it. I'm like, nah. It's just so mean for such a nice, pleasant, charming video game. I thought the overall package is really, really enjoyable though. And I think it's pretty easy to recommend people play. Just beware that if you want to do that, if you want to get everything, some of it's fucked.
It's going to take a while and we went pain in the ass.
Some of it's really fucked. Oh, hey, look. It's back.
Hey, it's back.
It's back. I restarted because for two reasons. One, I wanted to play it a bit more before I went to bed one night in the holidays. And I wanted to restart it because I wanted to lay things out a bit nicer than what we had in the checkout.
Mm-hmm.
My playing it for a little bit before I went to bed turned into 4.5 hours. So I went to bed at 3:30 in the morning. I ran into the issue where the amount of time it's taking to accumulate the next level of resource, it's also a resource that deteriorates over time if it's not properly stored. So trying to act, it's the level of resource after the Hellstone. Okay. You need to have special containment buildings to actively store it, which you can't get these containment buildings unless you get some of the resource. It's hard to maintain the level of resource because it deteriorates over time. It's like,
Okay.
I went back in to try and chip away at it a little bit more, proceeded to lose another hour, hour and a half, 2 hours with something else on the screen. I'm like, oh, fuck, this is dangerous. I could keep chipping at this. But, oh, God, I uninstalled it.
Oh, did you? Oh, really? Oh, okay.
I uninstalled it basically for my own safety and my own sanity. Because, like, that time issue of trying to get to the point of, I want to get to this now. I want to fucking keep going.
Yeah.
But also, if I kept going, I don't know how long it would take me and how much sanity I would maintain.
Yeah.
But the management, the building, the semi-idle nature, yeah, you could lose some serious time to that thing.
Yeah.
In a way that's fucking great, but just that, it obviously needs to have that hook to keep you going.
Yeah. Yep.
But the hook is a little fucked.
Yeah.
So for now, it's uninstalled. How long it stays that way, I can't say. But what a great thing. Speaking of great things, oh wait, there's no date on this. That's weird. Oh, who cares? So Banishers, Ghosts of New Eden, I've kept going with. I'm at about 27, 28 hours now. I've still got a fair bit left on it. The more I play it, the more I've noticed that the ghost investigations that you do aren't actual investigations where you're going through evidence and making dialogue choices and stuff like that. It's sort of a guided experience to tell these different stories of ghosts haunting these people and stuff like that.
Okay.
There's a part of me that wishes that the investigations were a little bit more involved, or you did actual investigation. But if they did make the investigations more involved, would that destroy what's already there?
Yeah. Yep.
Which is a very difficult thing to balance. I'm really enjoying the character work, the exploration of the world, the narrative, all that sort of stuff. It's somewhat God of War in its open worldness and exploration.
Okay. Yep.
So there's some relatively open areas that you get other abilities to continue exploring further as you go. The character stories you come across are really, really interesting and well put together. I got one where, because it's 1649, I got a ghost story to investigate that involves smallpox blankets. I'm like, yep, that definitely was a thing that happened. You motherfuckers. There are some graphical inconsistencies and oddities popping up a little bit. Frame rate issues I hit in this snow area in particular, which sort of makes sense given its budget and sort of what the perceived budget. We don't actually know what its actual budget was. They did put out a patch. Don't Nod put out a patch pretty recently that supposedly improved some things. I don't know if it really did, but no. I still think it looks great. I'm using the screenshot function or the photo mode in it to just take screenshots of the environment, because the environment aspects, while they're not incredible from that technical perspective, there is still a really, really nice look to it where there is some technical element, but it's not all ray traced and HDR'd out.
Yeah.
It just looks fucking great. I was enjoying the combat in that has mostly been good and enjoyable, but goddamn, I had a boss encounter where I didn't feel like the mechanics of the boss fight were particularly well presented or well explained, and it didn't really match what you were given up till that point. and it fucked me off hard.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
other than that,
games that did that really shit me off.
it was this thing where it's like you could there was this monster chained to the wall, and you could only shoot the chain links in a very short window. But it didn't really explain that to you particularly well, and you hadn't had to do that up to that point.
Yep.
So it fucked me off. But I eventually got my way through it. And yeah. Cricket through the ages. I thought, fuck it, I want to play this because I played it for about 30 seconds on phone.
Yep.
When I had Apple Arcade, and I'm like, I want to play this again at a different time, and then never got to it on Apple Arcade. And then it came out on PC this year. Hooray! Hey. It's really amusing and really funny. Like, just to walk through the process of the story and how it tells you the history of cricket. And the history of cricket in this game is fucking ridiculous. And all the things that happen are fucking ridiculous. But because it has achievements for things like hit 3 sixes in a row and stuff like that, if you want to try and play it even remotely seriously, the bullshit, the randomness, and the control scheme gets exposed big time.
Okay, yep.
And the sort of origins of Apple Arcade come to the surface a little bit as well.
Yep.
If you go into it with the right expectations and you're not looking at it as a semi-serious cricket game, it's a fantastic 1-2 hour experience. It's really, really funny. If you want to play actual cricket
yeah,
to like get a high score, get these achievements, you are going to be frustrated.
Yep.
And frustrated hard.
Yep.
So I had stopped trying to go for those achievements and just like, let's finish this story and let's just laugh at that because that part's really, really funny. Anyway. So I need to compose thoughts. We've been discussing doing a 3-game golf checkout with some different variations of golf, with Super Video Golf, Turbo Golf Racing coming out 1.0, and this. Now, I thought, before we do the checkout, this might be the sort of thing where maybe I look at it and try and make sense of it. I could not make sense of it. It's a fucking fantastic thing that I will never play again. It's literally mini golf in a 4-dimensional world.
So for 4-dimensional, what do you mean by 4-dimensional? Because obviously you've obviously got a golf course in front of you with trees and stuff like that in it. So that's the 3D bit of it. What's the 4D part of it? You're going into different parallel worlds or something as you hit the ball.
Space/time.
Okay, so you hit the ball the ball sort of takes hours to play, and then I don't know. I'm not sure.
No,
how the time mechanic is presented in the game is what I'm curious about.
They try and surface. So when you're on just the normal whole view, it's mini golf, but it's in this forward. So when you're in the normal view, you're seeing it as a mini golf course. You hold down the left mouse button and move the mouse left or right.
Yep.
And you'll see the actual hole and environment shift and all that sort of stuff with the 4-dimensional components. To the point where it eventually reveals the hole, how to get to it, all that sort of stuff.
Yep.
There's also, you press the V button on the V key on the keyboard, it then puts it into the 4-dimensional space, which makes it fucking like tunnels.
Okay.
I'm doing a really bad job explaining it because I can't for the fuck of me. I can barely understand it. The tutorial does a pretty great job of trying to explain what it means and how it works, if you can understand it.
Yeah, okay.
And I cannot. So, like I said, I can't explain how the fuck it works.
Yeah, okay.
I fumbled my way through the tutorial, eventually got that sorted. I picked out, once you go through the tutorial, it's like, hey, just play some 4D golf. I'm like, sweet. There's a thumbnail for this course that has a loop-the-loop on it. That looks fucking rad. I'll play that.
Yep.
That was a bad idea. I got through the first 8 or 17, I can't remember, holes, and got to what they call, what was it called? Marathon. I got to 120 shots and I couldn't figure out what the fuck I was doing.
Okay.
How to make any progress whatsoever. yeah, I'm not. My brain does not have the sort of capacity to try to understand this. But it's fucking incredible that this can exist and find an audience.
Let me go look.
Like you look at the Steam discussion boards, and there's people talking about fucking vectors and all sorts of shit. I put a topic on there going, man, I'm too stupid to play this. And the developer was like, don't do the challenge courses, do the tutorial again. I'm like, dog, that's not going to help.
That's the bit I'm struggling with.
Yeah. If you're a maths brain, or I'm guessing a science brain, you'll fucking love it. I emulated a DOS version of a mini golf game that me and my brother played when we were kids to feel a little bit better about myself. Fuzzy's World of Miniature Golf. That game's fucking great. But yeah, it's the fourth dimensional stuff that's really unique. And yeah, man, I feel fucking dumb.
I'm just looking at a video of it now, and I'm still... It's like the world is changing as you're playing. But the course design literally changes.
Yeah, there's like some shift or metamorphosis in the course, but it's like when you go into the tunnel, that pressing V to go into the sort of tunnel view to put it in its actual, like my understanding of 4 dimensions was the hypercube from Numbers, where Tesseract, hypercube, whatever the fuck it's called, where it's a little cube and there's a big cube around it, and it's got 4 like different beams connecting the 2, and I'm like, hey, it exists in time. That was my understanding of 4 dimensions, because Numbers explains maths.
It's like a time and space thing. The time and space thing is 4D.
Yeah. But holy fuck, did that not help? Numbers didn't help me. But yeah, it's fucking fascinating that this thing can exist and have the audience that it's finding. But holy fuck, am I too stupid for it? I don't even know if you'll understand it. Oh. Yeah.
I'm not too sure I'm going to spend $30 to find out, to be honest, either.
Yeah. Yeah, I bought that a while ago. I'm like, ooh, mini golf. I like mini golf. So anyway.
If it came on sale, I might get it, but no.
Yeah. Slovenia.
Metroidvania?
So I had a Saturday afternoon a week ago or something. Well, I got some games. I'm like, between things, I got some games here that I kind of want to, that sort of reviewed let's see if they're any good. Slovenia was the first one. It's a Slavic-themed search action game, Metroidvania, where it has a really weird and not very pleasant graphical style or movement animation. It's all very puppetish, sort of diorama-ish aesthetic. And like, it's this very weird, exaggerated, like, you know, the paper puppets you can make where you put like push pins, and you bend the arms back on the pin so it basically has the elbow joint.
Yeah, I think I know describe it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Animation is basically that, and it looks fucking weird. And the movement and the feel of the actual playing of it has this weirdly awkward quality that's really hard to put a finger on, but I don't think it feels very good. There's a little bit of loopiness to the jump, where it's a decent height, but there's not much distance to the actual forward movement of the jump, which makes it hard to, jump and platform and things like that in certain points. Like when you kill an enemy, they'll die, and then about a second later, they'll go and blow up, like vanish into a cloud of butterflies that are the souls. So souls like souls-likes. But you can well and truly have moved on from those enemies, be like trying to jump over some spikes or something, and then all of a sudden these souls come out, and it's like, oh man. And then the butterflies float around with like no real rhyme or reason behind how they move around the screen, and then just disappear after a few seconds.
So do you kind of collect them from that in that
you can go and collect them. That becomes your currency for upgrading and shit like that. But it's just sort of weird in like it. weird's not the right word for it. It's awkward.
Okay.
Most everything about it is very, very awkward in how it handles movement and collection and things like that. It has a charm to it, but I don't think it's worth the time to, or it's like not going to be worth my time to play it more than the hour or so I played it for. Because I'm like, I'm not really digging how this feels.
It's pretty decent.
And just in case you wanted any more of a hint of the Slavic roots, about 95% of the discussion topics on the Steam discussion boards, Russian. Or like, so you know the different European, Eastern European languages where it looks very Russian-y, very block-like letters and things like that? Yeah, it was one of them. I got confused. Then I got scared. Then I ran away.
What do you think visually looks decent? Or interesting at least?
The visuals look nice until you actually look at it a little more closely when you're playing it.
Okay.
It's the movement of the main character that looks really unnerving.
Okay.
And I don't think it's intended to, or at least that's how I'm getting it. So I don't know. I don't know. I've got way more games to like, so it's just like, okay, I'll give, this has gotten like sort of 7s. I'll have a bit of a look. Yeah, nah. Speaking of games that have gotten 7s and yeah, nah. You did try and warn me about this one.
I did warn you about this one, yep.
You did warn me about this one. Did I listen? No.
I played this as a demo, must have been last year. Must have been. It wasn't this year. And yeah, I like the look of that game. I like some of the actions about that game. But then when you get into the combat, it turns into a turn-based thing, and I just lost it after that. Didn't really.
That wasn't actually my big problem with it.
Oh, okay.
So the thing that's important. Well, one of the things that's important. This is the third game in the sort of Wasteland, for lack of a better term, series, like Golf Club Wasteland. Like, you know that side-scrolling mini-golf game with jetpacks and stuff like that?
Yeah, I know the game. I loved it. Great game.
Yeah, this is linked to that.
Okay. It's not the same studio, so how can it be? It's not the same studio.
I don't know what to tell you, man.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure on the Steam, like, you look at the discussion boards and, like, it's got the same sort of DJ guy that comes through with very similar type of music. I think it looks really cool, but it shits the bed on executing on that look. The main city, the flooded city, is called Alphaville. So they're really stretching their creative muscles on that one. Can you remember what, so when you get dialogue scenes, it's literally just black, very angular sort of speech bubbles. And I'm like, the aesthetic choices here don't mesh.
Yeah, I honestly don't remember that much of it, so.
Yeah, but I thought the writing was pretty basic and simplistic. That lacked any sort of real narrative hook to keep me going. The only spoken or voice acted part was a radio DJ, which the radio was irrationally loud compared to the rest of the mix of the audio. And I don't think it's very good. It's this weird kind of dream pop, future techno-ish sort of dubsteppy kind of thing. Either way, I don't think the music's good, and there's a looseness to the movement around the environment that is also limited by invisible walls. So, you like when you're piloting the boat around from place to place, that boat has such a massive fucking turn radius that it's really hard to get any. Like once you're going straight and you're just navigating in a straight line, it's fine. If you need to turn around, fuck that.
Okay. And
like you get to these different little islands, you're walking around. You can't really go at too many places, but the point of exploring environments like that, kind of like Mutant Year Zero, is to find items and stuff like that. But there's no real point to doing that in this because most of what you're finding, it's not useful items or gear. It's just snarky or shitty newspaper articles or books that are just collectibles and just really shitty attempts at referential humor. Like there's a book about the end of the world by someone called Frankie Fukushima, which I'm like, that's a little on the nose. And another book called The Girl with a Tattoo of a Girl Who Disappeared on a Train That Was on Fire. That's a fuck off, man. That's like you're trying to make reference to like 4 different books. Go eat a dick. Like, yeah, the combat itself is a choice. Like the XCOM turn-based strategy style is fine. I don't mind it. But like the way in which it fits within the aesthetic and the story they're trying to tell, and there's an awkwardness to some of that commanding or controlling that combat as well, and that you're selecting the square you're moving to, but then you're also like selecting the square you're attacking before you confirm the attack, and it's just a little awkward. But on the other hand, you get to hug a massive teddy, so I don't know, game of the year. Yeah, it's...
Yeah, I'm not too sure where the connection to the Gulfland Wasteland is. There's nothing in the discussion threads about it, so I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I think it's more under the surface.
Yeah, I'm not just how that link is there, because there's no obvious link for it.
Neither do I. But a lot of the things I read on the discussion forums, in reviews and stuff like that, mentioned Golf Club Wasteland and stuff like that, and I'm like, yeah, sure, go for your life. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
This, on the other hand, is fucking amazing. And it's also a very weird key art given. So the actual Western name is Euphoria, which I love the way it's spelled. The Saga 2.
Implying there was a Saga 1.
In case there was a Saga 1 on the NES.
Oh, okay, so this is way back, okay.
Yeah, which there's an emulated version of that you can buy on Steam. They forgot to translate it. So all of the translation on the Steam version of the original game is in Japanese. This is such a nice, pleasant, fun little platform. It's got a fucking amazing art style. It's got like, you know that Yoshi's Crafted World, Kirby's Epic Yarn, stuff like that? That.
Okay, yep.
Sort of cardboard, very fun, like very furry looking, felt like textures. The water is 3 rows of cardboard water, and it looks fucking great.
Click on the screenshots link to people who are listening and watching.
Yeah, like I think these must have been early screenshots, but you can see the sort of felt like nature of the different little characters. You get these little slime guys that you have to take out with your little ball. Again, that's the Japanese title. It's really funny when you start the game. It's literally just like the name that comes up on the executable on the window is Hebereki something.
Okay.
I'm like, that's confusing. And it's got these like the little character portraits like this look like those little like sort of art sort of craft things you can make with little plastic, almost Lego bits.
Yeah, yeah.
It's very arts and crafty in how it presents itself. It's really not that difficult. You get a fuck ton of coins, but the main collectible you get are these like basically cans of Pepsi Max.
Okay.
Or at least that's what they look like. It's fucking weird. There's like 95 of them. It took me about 7 hours to get all 95. And now I'm back up here again. Whee! There. So, it's a pretty basic story. There's a weird alien guy, which is this guy here. He comes to Earth, question mark, and starts throwing his weird gobs of slime around. And you and your friends have to stop him.
Okay.
You have to find and re-befriend your friends first. And these are all characters from the first NES game. They've been taken over by the slime.
Okay.
So you cleanse them of the slime and then they help you again. They all have different abilities. Like the little penguin dude can climb up, basically shimmy up walls.
Yep.
The little green guy here, Jennifer. I remember that a male named Jennifer can go underwater.
Okay.
So like the little penguin dude hates the water. He'll just go, ah! The little cat can swim along the water. And then this little worm guy who always has a really cool look in his face, he loves tea, he can float.
Okay.
When he jumps. So he can jump longer distances.
Yep. So you're swapping between these characters on the fly, or is it one level at a time, each one? Okay. So
Nope.
it's like...
On the fly, you just right bumper, left bumper to change to those characters.
And they progress a little bit to help the other guys progress to get over the bit they can't get over. Okay, so it's a bit like the Lost Vikings from years ago, that style of
Yeah.
puzzle game where you've got to use the characters to get everyone to the end sort of thing. Yeah, okay.
Take Lost Vikings, mix it with some Kirby, just the Kirbiness without the absorbing of abilities.
Yep.
You have to replay the levels quite a bit to get the right versions of the level to get the collectibles. Because the levels aren't the same every time through. They seem to... I don't know if it's procedurally generated or it's just like large tiles that they're randomly putting in order.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
To have the collectibles, but I had to replay quite a few of the levels multiple times. You get a lot of coins. There's a vending machine where you can buy heaps of items. In order to fast travel, you need to buy this bird's eggs from all of the vending machines and all the levels.
Yep.
He's like, buy my eggs back and I'll fly you places. And you're like, word. And you do. And it's great. The only bummer, no cloud save, so I couldn't keep playing it in hospital.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm going to jump around with this little penguin, get coins. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Oh, fuck. So one of the hospital games I played was Balatro. I tried it with controller because, like, the bedside if you've ever seen a hospital bedside table, very bouncy. So I took my 8-bit DOE Hall Effect controller up there, and Balatro works really, really well with the controller. I really like the way it handles and the way it plays with the controller. It's great. Moving on. This was the other game I played.
Have you played this before?
I played the demo of this last year.
Righty, yeah.
Came out late last year. It was on sale for like $10. So I grabbed it. It's pretty fucking hard. So basically, you're this little robot guy. He's not Mega Man, but he's a robot guy. And the robot has the soul of this professor and his assistant's friend in it. Okay. And there's this mad professor who comes down going, give us a secret weapon. And they're all like, what secret weapon are you talking about, dog? He's like, fuck you, I want your weapon. And then just proceeds to blow shit up and goes, come and get me, you fuck. Without the swearing. So it's kind of Meat Boy-ish in that you can finish some of the levels in like 10 seconds.
Okay. So
there's 3 versions of finishing a level. You can get all of the bolts in the level. You can get it under the time limit or the challenge time it gives you. You can finish it without doing either of those 2, which eventually the progress, I don't know what it does to you. Or you can get a flawless run, which is getting all the bolts and the time in one shot.
Okay, yep.
That makes it hard sometimes. I had to replay multiple levels quite a number of times because I was 0.03 of a second off getting under time. I'm like, oh, you fucker. It's got a really sort of nice, serviceable art style. The music's cool, and the feel of the actual platforming, the movement is super tight, which is mad important for a game like this. But I dig it. It might be my after-work game. I don't know. It was my hospital game. So, And the last thing, this came out of early access a couple days ago. And I bought it on early access because I'm like, ooh, first-person shooter, that looks all right. And then I played it, and it's less than all right. So it's wave-based, kind of like Horde mode in Gears of War or Zombies in Call of Duty. But it gives you a bunch of objectives to do to finish the level.
Okay, yep.
So, but as you progress through the waves, you're getting higher and higher wave counts and enemy counts, and they're stronger. I don't know what this thing wants itself to be.
Okay, yep.
The weapons don't feel particularly well balanced, really. Like the shotgun isn't particularly powerful for what you think a shotgun should be. Solo play is not particularly well balanced either. I played it on normal, got to wave 20 after about 20 minutes and died, which was annoying. I then bumped it down to easy. I got to the boss of the actual thing, which this is after an hour. I played that easy run for about an hour and 10 minutes. Died with about 10-20% left on the boss, and if I was going to go back in, I'd have to redo all the objectives again.
Oh, okay. So
I said, fuck this. it's fun enough. Like, presentationally, it's fairly basic. Shooting monsters is fun. Like, it's fairly easy to pop off headshots and stuff like that. And you get various weapons. Like, there's an AK-47 equivalent, like just a normal rifle equivalent, things like that. And you can upgrade them. But number one, to upgrade them properly costs fuckloads of money.
Mm.
And it doesn't maintain its power. There's not a curve on the power. It sort of sits at like a bar, which when you get it initially, great. But after a few waves, that the monsters are well above that power bar, which is like, fuck this.
Yeah.
I don't know if it really knows what it wants to be. If it wants to be like a true sort of horde mode zombies experience, or if it wants to be a first-person shooter campaign, because there were like some of the missions I got were basically stand in this circle, make this scanner move like, I don't know, 15 feet while you're getting swarmed.
Yeah.
So I was like, what the fuck are you doing? It doesn't feel like there's any scaling for solo or multiplayer, or at least if there isn't, that's fucked.
Yep.
Given how the solo experience played, I'm like, yeah, okay. There's 4 environments or levels. I only played the first one. I put about 2.5 hours in. I did 2 runs on normal, and then I did the one on easy. Got to the very end of it, and I was like, fuck you. There's 11 cosmetic DLC packs, $65 total.
Jesus. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, it's... I don't know how much easier this would be if you had a crew of people to play with. But it seemed like it could be just a good bit of first-person shooter fun, and for a time it is, until it's not. And then it's like less fun and more sort of... more of a sort of mad rush trying to get these objectives done, which, yeah, if you're going to try and do this horde sort of thing, why put the objectives in the first place? Unless you're obviously trying to make yourself distinct, but by making yourself distinct, you then fuck it up and make it not great. I don't know. Yeah, that's been my last couple of weeks. I don't know. Some good things, some not so good things. It seems like the number of not so good things for me the last couple of weeks far outnumbers the number of good things.
You had some games that you'd already had known quantities because you played them before, but of the new ones you tried, I think it was probably maybe almost 50-50 ones that you actually liked versus ones that weren't so good. So
Penny's Big Breakaway was a disappointment, not like, because some of the reviews I read for that were like, yeah, 3D platforming, yo. I was like, yeah, nah, not quite, yo. And yeah, High Water, I should have known. I was taken by the visuals. I should have known.
Well, I didn't. The thing I mentioned about that game wasn't what you disliked about it, so you found a different thing. So, because I played a demo, so it was a much smaller sample size of that game. But the thing that turned me off on that
the reviews were very much about the gameplay elements of it as well.
Yeah. So the thing I didn't like about it was the fact that when it turned into a turn, because it looked like it should be like a descent style game on, in a water world kind of a thing. That's what it should look like, what it should be, based on everything it presents. And then you go into this combat setup, and then all of a sudden it's turn based. You go, okay, that's out of nowhere for us.
There was one clever part to the combat though, where you had this kid with a fishing line, and like there's a gap. It's like the combat arena is like U-shaped, and there's a gap in the middle. So if you use the fishing line on a dude, you pull it and pull the guy, and he goes like 2 squares and drops.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. But other than that, not so cool. But yeah, that's been my last couple of weeks games wise. I don't think I've got much. I don't really have much listens this week. The things that I would say I need to listen to maybe once or twice again to get my head around it. So yeah.
All right, on to mine then.
Word.
Press that button. Oh, it worked. Yeah.
And I'll push that button to stop streaming.
So still playing Forbidden West. I sort of stopped for a bit because I was doing other bits and pieces around the house, and I'm getting some rather extensive renovations done. So I'm in the middle of planning for that and doing all sorts of bits and pieces, like getting stuff signed off and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not fully focused on games at all, much at all really. You probably see by behind me my big all the crap on my bench on the table. That's all just
Yeah, I wasn't sure what the go with that was.
yeah. So it's all just because I've got stuff. I've done a big massive cleanup and yeah, stuff like that to get ready for these extensive renovations that are going to have a room removed for a bit. So I'll have a bit of loss of space. So yeah. So yeah, so in terms of what I'm getting at there is I haven't had a lot of time to play, so I sort of stopped playing Forbidden West and other games for a fair bit for probably a week or so. But I've got back into it the last couple of days, and yeah, still thoroughly enjoy that game now. I'm enjoying it way more and getting way more into it than I did when I was on PlayStation. I went back into this PlayStation save to see how far I got with it because I had, as I said, I played it when it came out and played it and then stopped it. So it looked like I'd played roughly the same number of hours, so around the 35 to 30, between 30 and 35 hours worth. I had gotten to roughly the same levels, but I'd done missions in different orders. So I'd done some in my PC save I hadn't done in PlayStation and vice versa. So ultimately, kind of in reality, probably much the same. But my memory of this of my current playthrough is obviously way more fresh. So, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it a lot. So it's a good one of those, as we've said a couple of times before. But
can I ask a question?
You certainly can.
Last time we talked about this, I asked you about using the PlayStation 5 controller on PC because the Sony games use the DualSense on PC really well. But you said you hated that controller.
Yep.
Can I ask why?
The thumbsticks. I hate the thumbstick placement.
Just the thumbstick placement?
Yep, that's pretty what it is. Yep. Being in the middle on the same level just does not feel comfortable for me at all. Never has. Never has been.
Fair enough.
So, yeah, so it's always been that. Yep, that's pretty much the only reason. Yep. Satisfactory, yep, still playing that. I'm currently in the middle of recording bits for episode 19 of Solar Factory and then putting that together. Yeah, so not much more to say about that one. I'll come back to that one. Actually, no, I'll start with this one. No Rest for the Wicked. So this is the game.
I'm very curious your thoughts about this.
I haven't played it for long, less than an hour, so I haven't got a lot of thoughts. But I have enough, I think, that I'll probably I'll wait for it. But anyway, so No Rest for the Wicked is from the folks from Moon Studios who made the two excellent, stunning-looking Ori games from a while back now, 3 or 4 years ago at least.
Will of the Wisps was 2022, I want to say, and Blind Forest was either 18 or 19.
18 or 19, yeah, so 3 or 4 years before that. So it's by the same studio. It's now published by Private Division. Those two games were published under the Microsoft banner. Private Division is publishing these two, or this game I should say. It came out in early access a couple of days ago as we are recording. And it is... So the game visually, it's the game that when it was first sort of shown off, probably at a would have been a Summer Games Fest, or maybe Game Awards, one of those two.
Maybe Game Awards.
Game Awards, maybe. I think it's relatively recent when it was shown off.
It was pretty recent between that and launch into early access.
So it's got the visual flair of the Ori games, so it's got a very lush environment. It's looking to it. It's the outsole is just the visually it's pretty damn stunning. It's isometric, so it plays a bit like a Diablo in terms of your view of the gaming world. Like you've got that Diablo style. I'm playing with a controller, so you've got one is left stick, I think, is controlling your character movement, stuff like that. You haven't got much character camera control at all. In fact, I don't think we've got any from memory. And it's not a Diablo game, even though it kind of looks like one. So it doesn't have loot drops like the level you get in a Diablo game. In fact, it has, from what I can remember from the bit, as I said, I played literally probably 40 minutes of it. There are chests in the world you can go up and open, but enemies don't drop stuff. So you're not getting gear that way. Maybe they do occasionally drop stuff, but yeah. But the biggest it's also been compared to a Souls game. Yeah, that to me would scare the crap out of me because I don't like those games at all. But it's not quite that either. So it's got like your combat is action based, like you're pressing whatever whatever the button is to attack, and you've got wind ups. You've got that's I think probably where the Souls like comparison comes into. You've got a wind up, you've got animation priority kind of stuff. I suspect, although as I said, haven't played a real lot to really know. And it is a very slow, deliberate. You can't go in all guns blazing kind of approach to combat. You've got a stamina meter that when it runs out, you basically can't do a damn thing. It does regenerate regens over a relatively quick period of time. So if you just back out of a fight, you'll get your stamina back up again, and you can sort of go back in again. I have found it quite difficult to get an idea of how you should play the game in terms of combat, because I'm used to just going in and wailing on dudes like you would in a Diablo game, because you have all these skills and abilities and firing off. That's not how this game's going to work, and I haven't quite figured what that gameplay loops and mechanics going to be. The biggest complaint against the game, though, is it's got weapon durability. So that is that when I think people didn't think that was going to be a thing. I think that's where it came from. I don't know where because other games have that concept, but I'm not too sure what it is that why people are so anti against it. They have already patched it and reduced it already, so they're already responding to that. Because basically, I think what you'll end up, I think the situation would be is you would end up getting into a situation where you basically will just go into a death spiral, because you can't repair your gear because you need to pick up the items to repair your gear. You can't repair your gear, but then you can't go and fight enemies to get gear back. So you end up with a situation where you just end up going into a death spiral. So I think that's where most of the complaints are coming from, is that you couldn't get out of that necessarily. So it's a game that I think I'll go back to. I'm going to let it sit for at least a couple of months to let it patch up. It's only just come out in early access. As I said, visually it's got a lot of going for it for sure. I'm not too sure at this point it's the type of game I want to play at the moment. There is no difficulty settings at all. It is just what it is. So I think that's where I think they may end up putting something like that in, making it have it easier. I'm not sure what the terminology would be necessarily from it, but like you've got to make that combat just a bit easier to handle. Maybe they have an option where if you do die, you do respawn. And the good thing about it, you respawn any enemies you've defeated. They don't respawn, so you can run back to where you die, quote unquote, and you've got your health back to a degree, so you can probably have a better chance of fighting it. But you do lose that weapon. That weapons do start to degrade as you do that. So I'm not too sure where exactly it's going to end up and how quick it's going to get there. But like visually, the game, as I'm just showing on screen at the moment, is very impressive. The cutscenes are impressive. You can see there's an indication of that swinging arc there of that weapon is kind of where it's sort of that weapon. Not sure if priority is the right term, but you've got a slow. Combat is not quick. Combat is deliberate. You've got to make sure you're in the right position, that sort of thing. You can pick up things like, as I said, I picked up a shield. I just don't know how I got it. I can't remember how I got it, whether I picked up from an enemy or something, or it's in the chest. Yeah, so I think it's got a lot of potential. The game, as I said, looks amazing. But I just think that they might have... Whether it's one of those games where people just went into it with an expectation or a misunderstanding of what the game actually was, or whether they didn't tell people what it was, so people didn't know about this weapon durability stuff. But if you go onto the Steam discussion forum, which isn't necessarily a good thing to do sometimes, but if you go onto there for this game, you will see a lot of people with this mechanic of the weapon durability. And as I said, in a patch they released literally a day or so ago, they've already reduced the impact of that mechanic already by making the durability not as high when you do lose when you do die.
So how does the weapon durability reduce? Does it only reduce on hit, or does it reduce when you die?
It reduces when you die. That's what I spotted.
Which I'm pretty sure Diablo does.
I'm pretty sure Diablo does that, but I think...
But there's the repair functionality and all that sort of stuff, going to a blacksmith and all that sort of deal.
Which I think this game has the same concept of that. You can repair your gear, But I think the issue that I think a lot of people are finding with it is you can't get those items or get to that person in some areas of the game. So you just end up in a situation where you end up dying. Your weapon durability is now down to 0, so therefore the weapon basically, I assume, just crumbles in front of you, and you've got weapon, and you've got no weapon to play with. Therefore, you've got nowhere to get into it and then fight at all. So you're basically in this situation where you can't progress at all. So
they just need to get good, bish.
So I think that's probably where the most the complaints are coming from. But
what's the indication as far as a 1.0? What's the window they're looking at?
I have no idea. I mean, they're saying I think they're saying at least 12 months, if not longer. So
let's see what it says on the old.
It doesn't really matter either. Like they're saying they've got this early access. But yeah, if you ever look at anything in here, that everything is all about this the what's I'm looking for? Yeah, this durability stuff is being a big death is too punishing, in my opinion, is one thing in here.
Yeah, nothing on their roadmap suggests a 1.0 yet. So
it's just come out, literally just came out 2 days ago. So I wouldn't expect them to list a roadmap yet for a 1.0.
Some early access games will have, we're planning for 6 to 8 months or a year to 18 months.
Yeah, but that's not every game's going to do that. So I don't discount a game for not having that or having that either way. But
hell no.
But yeah,
when I get paid again, I'm buying this.
Yeah, so as I said, they have already, as I said, patched it. They said, in fact, they even patched it 6 hours ago. There you go. Done? So what they've, here we go. So what they've done. So the patch is they reduced. So the game came out on. So we're recording on a Sunday. I think the game came out Friday morning or Friday. Yeah, I think it was Friday. Might have been Thursday. I think it was one of those 2 days.
Thursday night, Friday morning.
Yeah, so the very first patch they did basically has balance changes, reduced durability damage taken, reduced repair cost, increased drop rate on repair powders, reduced stamina cost, reduced fall damage. So reduced so they've done that, and now that was on Saturday, and now 6 hours ago they've obviously had performance issues as well, so they're trying to address those as well. Improved overall rendering performance, balance changes, increased durability on tools. They've got these tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. Don't understand that, if I'm honest. What else have they done? Look what they've added.
Basically, it's a live living project.
Yeah, it's a live. So I think they are addressing the issues that have been raised by people. I mean, the thing that obviously you got to, when you look at a game and go into any forum site about a game like this, where it's just come out, it's just not necessarily taking the exact wording of people's comments, but taking the overall.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shitfest sometimes.
Taking the overall theme of what people are getting at, rather than the specific comments people are making. So yeah, I mean that's sort of the thing that you've got to sort of get past. I mean, if you ever look on there's already been 103 pages of topics on their Steam forum page in
sounds about right.
In 3 days. So yeah, I think everyone is just responding to the game that, as I said, looks really, really promising. But obviously people have got issues with it.
Now here's my question. Next question. Is this the gateway for Graham into Souls-likes?
No.
Oh.
Nope. I may not even come back and play this game. Who knows? I mean, it might be too much for me. So, but yeah, I mean, it's as I said, I bought it because of who made it. Not necessarily because even after reading things about it, what it was, I still went and bought it because of that pedigree from that. So yeah, it's definitely one to look at and keep an eye out for sure. But yeah, it's yeah, I think it's got a lot of promise. I think. Whether I play that is a different discussion, but I think the game itself is quite promising. And the last game is one that is actually from 2015 because we probably won't have time to get to it, but there was an indie showcase for Nintendo.
Yes, there was.
Nintendo
Indie World Showcase.
Showcase thingamabob. And one of the games that was in that was Steam World Heist 2. And I thought, oh,
yep.
I hadn't even aware there was a Steam World Heist. So I went and paid $20 for it on Steam, and I played it for an hour or so. That game looked really cool. I can't really comment on it beyond that because I've only played it for literally an hour. It's like a turn-based...
Yeah. Side-scrolling XCOM.
Side-scrolling XCOM, yeah, that's exactly the way to describe it. In the Steam world, you know, that visual motif that is so distinct and so cool. So, yeah, that's the only reason why that's on my list, because of that.
That game's great. I like that game.
Yeah, I have to go. As I said, I really got into it in the last little bit that I played of it. So it's something I will definitely keep going with it. And it's like, as it's got that Steam world is so cool in everything they've done. Steam world build, dig, heist. This game would have come out at a time when I wasn't into.
I never played the card game they did.
You know, they did one. Okay.
Battle of Gilgamesh or something like that.
That's not in the Steel World game. That Steel World.
Steam World Quest, Hand of Gilgamesh.
Okay.
It's a turn-based card game.
So what I was saying, so I'm liking like that world that they created is so cool. They could make so many games in that environment, that world now. But yeah. That is all I have played. Because I don't have as much time as you do, basically.
I had an extra the week of the last week of my holidays and some time in. I was going to say prison. I had some time in prison.
Never prison.
It was like prison. I wasn't allowed to leave.
So that was it. Is that it? You haven't got anything. So what did you pick out of that Steam World showcase? Anything that really caught your eye? I mean, obviously for me it was Steam World Heist, and there was another one that caught my eye too that I think I wishlisted.
I need to re-look at what the fuck they showed again because I've forgotten it.
I think they re-showed off Mouse again, which is that really cool first-person shooter.
Mouse was on the AAA showcase.
Oh, is that where it was? Okay, I'm getting confused with that.
Yeah, Mouse was on the AAA showcase. That looked, I think yes. Little Kitty Big City, which is like open world game with cat. Yeah, that I think I've either played the demo of that or I've watched someone play it. Okay. That thing looks really cool. Yars Rising, I actually thought was just going to be Atari doing a bullshit Yars Revenge reboot, but it's actually like a proper platformer search action game, things like that. Anton Blast, which if people remember Pizza Tower from last year, this has mad Pizza Tower vibes to it. Valley Peaks. I need to rewatch the video for that. The Ninja Turtles, Splintered Fate.
Oh yes, that one.
That looks pretty cool.
Yep.
And Cat Quest 3 got a due date. Got a release date.
Got a release date. Yep.
Pretty much, and Steam World Heist too. Most other things were either like I already knew about them or Yep. But bring on Cat Quest 3, yo. Man, fucking Cat Quest. I mean, fuck cats, but Cat Quest, that shit's rad. Anyway.
Yeah, so that was just trying to find an article, but can't bloody well find it, of course. So, so a couple of things on from that showcase went onto my wish list. Most of the stuff was also on Steam. Other than the obvious ones that were obviously exclusive to the Switch platform, but
it was only the Ninja Turtles game I couldn't find on Steam. I think everything else was already either a Steam page was already out, like Buzzed is already out on Steam, where it's coming out on Switch, quote unquote summer. Yeah, Duck Detective, The Secret Salami, I think came out in 2022 on Steam. Yeah, some of the stuff had already been out before. There's a demo for Anton Blast on Steam, and I think there's also apparently a demo for Cat Quest 3.
Okay.
But I already know I'm down for Cat Quest 3. I don't want to play a demo of that yet. But I might take a look at Anton Blast during the Friday show. And we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, there's no demo for Cat Quest 3. I'm looking at it now.
Oh, shit. Must be the demo. Must be on Switch, then.
Yeah. I think it was, actually. I think you might be right. Yeah. That's got an August date, which is cool.
Yep. Europia? Europa could be really cool.
Yeah, I played a demo of that. That's already out on PC, or is that pretty sure that's out on PC, or is it out? Oh, still
it is not out, but it does have a page.
It does have a demo. Yeah.
There's a London Games Festival going on right now. How about that?
Yeah, I played the demo of this a while back too. This is a third world puzzle platformer kind of game as well. Yeah. Pretty neat, art style too. Yeah,
very much so.
Yeah, a couple of games that I thought were interesting, but ones to look out for sure. Anything else from your side of the fence?
Nah, I'll talk about must listens next time after I've re-listened to one or two pieces or one or two albums before next one. But yeah, not so much right now.
Alrighty then, that'll do us for the Should I Play This Game podcast for the 22nd of April 2024. Episode 298 in the books. We shall be back in a fortnight for 299. In between that, we'll have probably another Lightyear Frontier episode going up, probably on the weekend. Between now, you'll obviously have your Friday night fun stuff happening. I will probably get round to doing finally editing and finalising episode 19 of Solar Factory. That'll go up at some point as well. But
maybe
until then,
check out Super Video Golf and Turbo Golf Racing, perhaps.
If we get time to, I think with Lightyear Frontier being several hours each time we play, we probably...
Yeah. We're only going to play it for like an hour and a half. Yeah, whoops, 3 hours. Fuck.
So I think we probably just stick to that until it sort of runs out, so to speak, and then we'll go back to stuff. But we have got a bunch of stuff lined up. In terms of stuff we want to do, we've got things lined up, but finding the time to do it at this point with other stuff going on is proving not tricky. Just not getting there, basically, is the upshot.
It just is.
It just is what it is. So, alright, thank you all. Thank you, Steve, for sticking around, and we shall sign off with our usual music. Till the next one, goodbye.
Button worked properly, yay!